Hey everybody, Kevin here. I forgot to put in an intro to this damn video. So it's dark 30 on a Sunday, and I'm doing it now while I'm post-assembling this little island bar that I've been working on that you're going to see in the next couple of videos coming up soon. So in today's video, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to continue on the little journey that we've been on with this pre-finished cabinet building that's taking forever. So here's what's going to happen in today's video. I'm going to time-lapse a little sanding, just a little bit, of the last face frame that we had to sand, which was a corner unit. I had to belt sand it. It was kind of tricky. And then we're going to go over a hardware jig. Hold on. And then we're going to go over this guy right here. I'm going to show you how I drill all the holes for all my handles for my drawers and doors using this guy. It works really good. It's kind of pricey, but it's good. All right, and then after we get done with that, we're going to set up to spray the blue finish, because I have to spray everything with 3 coats of blue water-based polyurethane. I'm just going to walk you through setting up a gun. I'm sure there's other videos out there that I've done, just like you're in the shop with me and I'm explaining what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So if you've never done any kind of finishing, I'm going to walk you through how to set up the gun real quick and what I look for and the things I do before I spray to get it all set up and ready to go. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about safety on the table saw. I'm going to show you how to never lose the nut and washer down the tube of your table saw ever again. I'm going to show you a little trick that I do to stop that, and I haven't dropped it down the hole in years. And if you've ever done that, you know what a pain in the butt it is. So you check that out. And then we're going to talk a little bit about cutting plywood on the table saw, because I've seen people hurt themselves quite a few times cutting plywood on the table saw because they don't follow the simple rule. And I'll explain that to you too. I have a little camera problem at the very end, but you'll see. And let's get to the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. I got to get back to work. Bye. Hey everybody, welcome to day 6. You can tell it feels like a Monday. My hands aren't working. So here's what we're going to do today. So what we have to do now is we're going to sand this beautiful end panel here. The rest of the face frame has been sanded except for this side. We're going to try to belt sand it. Going to use the old crappy belt sander. So I think what we're going to do now, since we're going to be belt sanding this way, and there's a video on belt sanding over here. Remember, practice belt sanding in different directions? Well, this is where it comes in handy. All right, I'm clamping this part to the bench. Where should we start? Oh, let's start over on this side, I guess. But here we go. So I'm going to try to feather this out here, and I'm going to feather this one. So I'm going to put a screw back in here. All right, got to make sure it's down below what we're belt sanding, otherwise we've got problems. All right, here we go. There you go. All right, whoo! That was exciting. Chewing gum again, sorry. I shouldn't be allowed to chew gum. We're running low on the 150 here. Let's go get some more. A box like this now costs something like 50 bucks, which is getting ridiculous, but pandemic prices. All right, here we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. All right, we have 220. Now we're going to sand it a little bit more, and we're going to look at it in the light and see if we got all the scratches out of it. 220. So what I'm going to do while I have it on the bench and I have 220s, I'm going to ease these edges here. I'm going to do this to all the doors too. Oops, crap. I'm going to ease this edge. I don't want a sharp edge here. You can pull the corners if you want to get them sharper looking, like this. Just give one just a little pull. Now you can see why we sanded this before we put it in the door, because sanding this now would be a big pain in the butt. Damn near impossible. Hey everybody, Kevin here. Welcome to day 7. We're going to put some handles on these guys right here. All right, so this is what we're going to use today, the Precision Drill Guide. If you can see the price, this was a few years ago, it was $170. It sounds like a lot of money, but it works pretty good. It's very precise. So it has 0 here. You go over 2.5 on either side. All right, that's how that works. It's also in millimeters on this side. So you take your handle, it's supposed to be 5 inches, you set it up that way. You take the little screws, screw them into the back of the handle, make sure it works for sure. And then we take our stop here, so we go from here to here, it's supposed to be 3 inches. From the 2.5 over, it should be 5.5, which it is right here. You can see where that lines up, it's about 140 millimeters. All right, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it down here. We're going to butt this in because that's set at 3/4 of an inch. because this is 3/4, this is 1.5 inches, so half of that. And we take it, and just to double check, we put a little itty bitty pencil in there. And you can see our marks there. They should be centered in the door, which should be about 3/4 of an inch. Pretty damn close right there. Okay. That might have been just the way the pencil went in, and 3 inches from the bottom, which is right here. You can see that all works too. And now we're going to drill them out. And we're going to put this piece of plywood underneath here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this on here like so. I'm going to hold down, and we're going to drill straight down through the door. All right. Now we have our 2 holes, and we're going to actually put the handles on here and make sure they work. Nothing worse than having a handle that doesn't work. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill a little bit of, warble them out just a little bit. Nothing crazy, just a little bit. Then we're actually going to put this handle in here, make sure it works. And when we go to unstage everything, take it all apart, we're going to label the handle, because we know which handle goes where. Because like I said before, some of these handles do not, aren't drilled the same exact way. We're not going to make them super tight, but there it is. There's the handle, and all the rest will be exactly the same. Put this over here. All right, well, I'm going to continue on, and when I get done, we're going to take everything off and label it, and I'm going to mill some wood, make some crown, and then we're going to start spraying. Hey everybody, Kevin here. We're getting ready to spray. Sorry it took a while. I had to set up the camera up there, and I finally got it. And then I realized that I didn't have any finish that was filtered, and I had to clean the gun out and all that. You know how it goes. You just got to get set up and ready to rip. We got all our blue finish all stirred up here. We got a 120 mesh filter. We're going to put that right in here. We got a piece of MDF to practice on. You can see this is scrap. I'm going to go over how I just go about setting it up really quick and getting the pattern I like. I'm sure there's other videos over there somewhere up here that I've made. All right, so what I'm doing now is just going to filter up some finish. You definitely want to filter your finish before you spray, even if your gun has a filter in it, because you don't want any chunks in there. Today we're using the recycled yogurt containers because that's all I use. I don't go out and buy the measuring kind, or you know what I mean, spend $4. These work just fine. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add about 3 ounces of warm water, just like that. And I'm going to stir that up. You're allowed to dilute your finish. I just want it to be warmed up so it sprays better, because warm water-based finish sprays better. You're going to hear a lot of noise today because I got the door open with the fans going. I got a little micro fan over here, and the reason for that is because I'm trying to keep my cameras from getting blue. I don't want them turning blue. I got my gun all cleaned up and ready to rock and roll. We have it set to 0, which means the fan pattern is going to be spraying like this. If you see my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. And if not, you should go watch them. So all this right here, fill this cup to right about there. I'm going to use this until it comes down right about there, and I'm going to fill it back up again. Put your lid on, turn it to the right as you go about putting it on there so you don't loosen your cup. Put that over there, let that sit, and we're going to mix up another one. And this one I'm not going to add the water to, so I'll add hot water just before I put it in the gun. First thing we're going to do is figure out what our pattern is for the gun. I'm going to leave my mask on so you can hear me a little better. And once I get that figured out, I'm putting the mask on. We're going to start spraying. I'm just going to show you how I go about spraying. I might explain it the first time I do it, and that's it. I got a paper towel ready because I like to wipe the tip every now and then. If it gets too clogged up, we'll use warm water and this brush right here. All right, so we have it set to 0. Everything is off. Everything is off. We spray it, nothing happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the air 1/2 a turn. I'm going to open the fluid 1 full turn. We're going to get 1 shot. Okay, see how weak that is? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our fluid up to 2 full turns, which is usually pretty good. And we're going to open the air 1 full turn, which is right there. See what a difference that makes? That looks pretty good. I'm going to open the fluid to another 1/4 turn, see what happens. I like that. I'll show you what 1 shot looks like over here all by itself. All right, that's probably good enough for me. I don't need it any wider. We're spraying doors and face frames, so I think This 3 or 4 inches is wide enough for me. I'm gonna get in there kind of close when I'm spraying the face frames. First thing I'm gonna set up here is the trim. So we wanna figure out what the face is, and then we're gonna spray the back first. This has a little nick in it. This face looks smoother. So this is the back. I'm just gonna shoot the back just like this. That's the only coat this is getting because it's the back. Okay, we're just gonna spray the back just once. I'm gonna put my mask on because I don't feel like getting sick. So the reason I'm spraying the trim first is I just want to get one side out of the way. We have to spray all 4 sides. Plus, I want to see how the gun's working. Yep, that works pretty good. You want to get all the kinks worked out of it before you start spraying stuff like doors. So it's better to spray something that's not as important as doors and not as visible. These are shelf trim, plus you get used to spraying with the gun. That's pretty good. Boy, it's sucking in the finish. Another thing that's important when you're shooting is start at your farthest position. My farthest parts are over there. I'm going to spray everything that's over there and work my way this way until I get to this guy. And that way I don't drag dust or crap all over the place. You know what I'm saying? All right, we got a miniature door. We're going to spray the backs first. Every time you see me spray a door, I'm going to spray the edges, always, every single time, whether I'm spraying the front or back. So I'm going to spray all these edges and I'm going to spray the back. Next time you see me, I'm going to have this flipped over. I'm going to spray all the edges and I'm going to spray the front. Because you can never have too much finish on the ends. They take the most abuse and punishment. Like I probably said in another video, but yeah, that's the way it goes. So another good thing to learn is how to shoot right and left-handed. Practice. So you should be able to shoot just as good with your left hand like this as your right hand like this. Oh, you see that? That was a water droplet. That's not gonna be good, hold on. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. That's a water droplet. That came from the trigger of my gun. It had water behind it, and as I moved it, it splattered. Okay, so I'm just gonna blow that a little bit. It came from back in here. It just dripped out. That should be good. Okay, I'm going to spray the inside of these doors first. Everybody, well, there's the doors and one face frame, so I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way, reset these up. I'm going to put tape on these, and we'll spray the face frames next. All right, everybody, here we go. So we're going to start spraying. Basically, I'm going to shoot down at the top, try to hit this side of the bead, and then I'm going to shoot the inside because I don't want to flood this with too much fluid. So I'm going to do all these 3 sides here, and I'm going to shoot this bottom right here, and then I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the same thing. Shoot this side up here and that bead. And then we're going to start shooting from the outside this way, so we fill up this little void, this little bead right here. Because once that bead has blue in it, we don't need to shoot it a bunch of times because we're just going to, when we're spraying it, it'll get in there. But you have to make sure it's all covered, and that's on the first coat. After they dry a little bit, put them on the other side of this guy over here, and we're just going to continue on with the doors. Going to let the face frame sit until tomorrow, and then hopefully we'll be done with the doors and I can spread everything out. So, alrighty, everybody. Well, I'll see you when I see you. Hey, everybody, Kevin here. I'm back. Here we go. Putting all the handles and hardware And basically handles and hinges on the doors. So this is definitely a different way of building. Usually you don't pre-finish everything and then put all the hardware on it before you've even milled the cabinets up, the cabinet boxes or the carcasses, whatever you want to call them. I've done this probably on 3 or 4 jobs. The curved cabinets of Bembo, I couldn't because everything was curved. I couldn't really spray it like that. You couldn't see the inside of anything. It didn't have open doors. Well, actually it did. It did have one upper, and that upper I did just like this. I pre-finished the whole thing and then put the face frame on the sides, put the carcasses on it, and then that was that. The last kitchen I think I did the exact same thing as this. Pre-finished all the parts, and then put it all together, boom. I'm using a 5/64 bit. Not a VIX bit, I don't know who makes this. Anyway, 5/64, little tiny bit with these itty bitty hinge screws. Anything bigger than that tends to strip out, so we want a nice little tiny hole. And you screw them in by hand. And if you've seen my other videos, I've probably said it in every video where I'm attaching hardware. Don't use a driver, just screw them by hand. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is, I think, day 9, and we're going to be milling up the carcasses and or the boxes, whatever you want to call them, the plywood part of the cabinet that you attach the face frames and doors to. So that's what we're going to be milling today. First thing I have to do is change the blade, because right now it has a cabinet maker's blade on there, and I don't want to use the cabinet maker's blade. I want to use this blade right here. This is the Ultimate Plywood and Melamine blade. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take the blade off, right? I'm going to raise it up just a little bit more now. There we go. I do everything left-handed, and the way I go about taking my nut and washer off of there is I put my hand over it, and I cup it and put my hand in a cup like this. And I do it left-handed because it's easier to grab that way. And there's the nut. I never drop it. Watch me drop it. Give it the old wiggle, loosen up the washer on that thing. And I do the same thing. I pull that out with my hand cupped around that washer. So if your blade has a label on it, it always goes towards the motor. Or at least every single one in America that I've ever had to deal with goes that way. That way you know the blade's going the right direction. All right, so now we're going to do this in reverse. We're going to cup the big old washer in our hands and slide it over. That way we don't drop it down the damn hole. So we do the same thing. This time I actually stick my finger inside like it's a black olive. And I cup it around there, and I just spin my fingers around, lock it in place. So I used to drop my nut down the hole all the time, and it would take me a half hour to fish the damn thing out. And so until I figured that out, and then so hopefully that helps you out. All right, so we want to go 1 tooth above. All you want is 1 tooth above. That's it. That way it clears all that, and you're good to go. All right, so before we get started, a few things, a little safety. So if you don't have a cabinet saw like this one, and you have a hybrid saw or a saw that has legs on it, or you're using a contractor saw with the wheels on it, when you're milling sheets of plywood, you really have to make sure that that is very stable. If you need outriggers, put outriggers out there. You need space behind you. I barely have enough. Right here is 8 foot, about 6 inches in front of my drum sander. That's just what I have. When I set this in place, I made sure I had at least 8 foot behind me. So make sure you have enough room behind you. Make sure you have enough room in front of you. And if you need help stabilizing it, have somebody help you. Don't try to do this on your own, because I think a sheet of plywood is probably 25 or 30 pounds. I'm not sure. So if you don't have a cabinet saw like this, and you have a smaller saw, maybe where you buy your materials from might have a panel saw, ask them to rip it in half so you're only dealing with 24-inch sheets, if that'll work out for you. And make sure they rip it the good side up so you don't scratch the crap out of the face. Because sometimes that helps. You'll have something lighter to deal with, and it'll still be 8 feet long, but yeah, that might help. In the previous place I worked at many moons ago, I saw this happen probably at least once a month. The first thing you never do is, even with small little pieces like this 1/4 inch, you never cut anything longer than it is wide. So, I got this little piece. I'm just going to cut it like this. Or they're going to cut it like this. And they just have this little piece here, and it's just 1/4 inch. And what happens is they start cutting, and somehow this part comes off the fence just a little bit. This saw grabs it with its 80 teeth and flings it back to you and gives you a belly whack. I'm sure you know people that's happened to. So do not cut anything that's longer than it is wide, like this on your saw. I don't care if you're cutting off a little piece like this or a long piece like this. This is worse. All it takes is just a little whoops, I just slipped off the saw or something happened, and this thing was just gonna come back, rotate around, and whack you hard. It's just what happens. So if you have to cut pieces like this, make sure you either have a miter gauge, slide that puppy in place and cut it this way. Okay, that's safe. Or you're using a sled, if you've made yourself a sled. I think every table saw comes with a miter gauge, so there's no reason to cut pieces that are longer than they are wide. Safety tip number whatever for Mr. Kevin. You'll thank me later. So my saw is so old, the 12-inch part mark is worn out. And here's what I'm gonna do. Because I can't even read that damn thing. I'm just gonna do this. I got a black mark and I'm gonna write 12 on it. You think I'm kidding? Yeah, here's my new 12-inch mark right there. I'll put a picture of it up over here. So everything I start with, I think, is 12 inches. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna change the battery out on this thing because it's half dead and I'll forget and it'll die right in the middle of all. Hey everybody, Kevin from the future here. I guess my camera died right then and there, and that was the end of that. So we're gonna continue on next week with the pre-finished cabinets. I'm gonna show you how to mill all the plywood safely by yourself, pocket screwing all the upper cabinet parts together. And then we're gonna assemble everything, attach the face frames, and then we're gonna go and install it. I don't know if I could take video of that, but I can show you what the cabinets look like after they've been installed. And you can see this right here. Over here goes with that kitchen. This is a portable island bar, which is the next video coming out after the next one after that. So you got something else to look forward to. Another crazy thing built by Mr. Kevin. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. You have an awesome day. Go outside and play, hug somebody you love. Be safe out there, and I'll see you next time right here on Woodworking with Mr. Kevin. Have an awesome day. We'll see you.
Subscribe now.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there you go. Oh, we're going. Good morning, everybody. Sitting there chewing gum. I forgot I can't chew gum. I have a tape. Fat Max. Not what they used to be. They're turning to crap. You used to be able to take your Fat Max and return it if it was broken anyway, or didn't work, or was limp. Not anymore. Crap. Still waiting for my router table, Canada. It'll be here in 3 weeks. They said 8 weeks ago. It'll be here in 3 more weeks. We built the wrong ones. They said 6 weeks ago. Another satisfied customer.